So Valve just came out and announced 3 different devices. Well, actually there are 2 and 1 controller, but we have the Steam Machine, which is a, let's say, PC-like / console experience, a proper desktop PC that you can hook up to your TV and still enjoy video games. We have a controller, which is basically like a Steam Deck torn in half without the screen. So we have all the different buttons, including the trackpad. And we also have the Stream Frame, which is another VR that Valve just announced. And to be honest, I'm really hyped for all these 3 different devices. Now, I get it, people still find a reason to complain, and this device might not be for you, but what I don't get is why people are actually upset about these devices coming up, especially the Steam Machine. Now, if it's not for you, that's fine. You might already have a true desktop PC, a powerful one where you can put anything at max level and you can enjoy all the latest and greatest, and that's fine. Or maybe you're a console gamer who doesn't really care about Steam library and you still want to enjoy your Xbox library or PlayStation library, and that's fine. But calling out a new device stupid just because it exists and it's just not for you, that is something that I don't get. Because having these devices, we can only benefit from it. If it's not for you, think about it that we get a least competition when it comes to these big players in the market like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. So other people might enjoy it, more developers might start optimizing their games better, especially when it comes to PC gaming. If this is priced right, then the prices for other devices might need adjustment as well, because you've seen what has been going on lately, especially with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. The prices are higher and higher now, even though they are 5 years old at this point, the price is so much higher than initially when they were released. So that's why I only see benefits whenever we're having devices like this. And think about it, this device, it's a PC but also a console, so you can still benefit from all this. You can still enjoy your Steam library, but into a more console-like experience, just plug and play, resume option and all that. So I really think that if this device is priced correctly, I think most of us will actually benefit and will really love using this device. And the funny thing is that a lot of people are actually complaining about power, because this is not a really bulky PC where you can put everything at high, but actually that's quite okay. Because if you've seen the surveys that Valve is doing quite often, they actually notice that they have all the necessary information from the fans in those surveys. You will notice that most of the backlash that the Steam Machine is getting about performance, they're actually part of the survey. For example, 8 GB of VRAM is something that most people complain about, and if you see in the survey, more than 30% of the Steam users actually have 8 GB of VRAM. Other 10% are having even less than that, and only 18% are having 12 GB of VRAM. Of course, there are more than that, but those numbers are quite low. And the same thing for resolution, because so many were complaining about only having 4K 60 FPS. Well, if you look into the survey, more than 50% of the Steam users actually still play on 1080p. Either they don't have a junky PC or they don't have a 4K monitor. Most of the players, more than 50% of them, are still using 1080p. And actually, almost 20% still use 2K, so not even 4K. Things like that, this kind of information are really useful because it helped out Steam coming up with the perfect balance when it comes for the Steam Machine. Because again, if the price is good for this device, I think they will knock it out of the park, because it's something that most of the gamers would actually need and want. Also, it comes with Steam OS. If you are not familiar with it, this already is available on the Steam Deck and also some other consoles like the Lenovo Legion Go S. And I have been using this ever since it was launched on the Steam Deck, and I have to say it's an experience that I really enjoy. It's a more console-like experience, so plug and play, it's just there. And if you want to tweak it and add more stuff to it, then you can definitely do that, because it's a still PC-like OS where you can install a bunch of different apps and you can still do that fairly easy. But most will just want a console-like experience, and I'm really seeing that the Steam Machine will be the first PC device that a lot of console gamers have, because it really ticks those boxes that they are looking for into a console or a gaming device. So I really think that the Steam OS might be the trigger that most of these people actually need. And if you consider again performance, we have other devices like the Steam Deck that I also mentioned, or the Nintendo Switch 1, also Nintendo Switch 2, which they're never the bulkiest and heaviest when it comes to hardware. They're not the most high performant ones. They are actually using older hardware even when they are announced. And if you think about it, especially for the Nintendo Switch, they were selling like crazy. So people apparently don't really care that much, and you might not understand that because you already see people around you that love big graphics, and the statistics are not lying. And for me, the biggest selling point of all this is that having another device in this market, especially the console market, going head to head with the likes of Sony and Microsoft, I think is something that we really need, especially now in 2025 and beyond. Because the console war, the big players when it comes to Sony and Microsoft, things have come down a bit lately, especially because the console war is pretty much won by Sony at this point. Xbox is not doing so well, and we don't really know what to expect for the next generation console when it comes to that. So Sony is pretty much winning it, and we already see that they can do whatever they want. They don't really care anymore just because they know that they are there at the top, and the people will still continue on playing and paying for their games and devices. So that's why now we need more than ever another company that is getting into this competition, and I really think that Valve has the power to do so. And I know that history might not help Valve when it comes to hardware, especially considering that the Steam Machine, this device is actually not the first time that they are coming up with, because this is something that was launched actually so many years ago with the same name, but that device was a failure to start with, especially because of the OS that we had back then. They did try to use Linux as their gaming system operator, and it wasn't doing so well. We only had a few games that were available. We didn't have Proton that was translating all these Windows games to Linux. The price was quite high, we didn't have games, the OS wasn't there, so you can imagine that it was a big failure. And think about it, did it affect you as a gamer that this device failed? No. So that's why if the Steam Machine, the new one, doesn't perform well, then we just move on with our lives. But if it does perform well, I think we could only benefit from it, either if we get the Steam Machine or not. And talking about SteamOS again, keep in mind that the Steam Deck is starting to get more and more optimization when it comes to video games. The developers are actually considering the Steam Deck as a standalone device, and they are trying to make the games better and better. We have that check mark that you can see in the Steam library if a game is fully compatible with the Steam Deck or not. And I think this is something that the PC world actually lacked, because there's so many different configurations out there, and the devs are finding it harder and harder to optimize these video games. That's why I actually enjoyed the console gaming, because at least I knew that a game will work on that console. I don't have to worry about it. The plug and play experience is something that most of people definitely want and need. And if SteamOS is not your thing, then you can always put Windows on it, because Valve is not developing a closed enclosure where you cannot do anything with it. You can still do whatever, you can still put whatever OS you want on the Steam Machine. So it's your device, use it however you want, and then that's the beauty of what Valve is doing. And in the end, I think it will all come down to the price, because Valve is the company that can benefit about losing money when it comes to hardware. They are doing the same thing with the Steam Deck. If you consider, they actually lose money whenever they're selling a Steam Deck, because they don't really care about that part. Because what Valve is interested in is the software. And think about it, myself included, I've done this as well. Before getting a Steam Deck, I only had 2 or 3 games on my Steam library, but ever since then, I have more than 100 ones. And that's where Valve is actually making money. They lose a couple of dollars when it comes to hardware, but if you buy a couple of games, they already won that money back. So this is something that they can do with the Steam Deck as well. They haven't announced the price, but it will come up in early 2026, and I'm really hoping that they will price this properly, and I'm hoping somewhere around $500. If they manage to do even less than that, that would be amazing. And I think Valve, at least in this point, know how to treat these kind of things. They learn from their mistakes when it comes to older hardware. They have a good device, the Steam Deck, which they handle properly. So I'm really hoping that they will do the same with all these new devices. But time will tell. I'm really curious what you think. But again, I really hope that this will not create another backlash in the gaming community. We don't need any fights anymore. We just need competition. We just need good devices that we can use to play our video games. Doesn't matter if it's a console or a PC or a hybrid device like the Steam machine. Time will tell. I really hope that this device will be priced properly and so many will be able to use that one and finally enjoy some PC gaming. But yeah, we'll just have to see. 2026 is not that far off. We will have the Steam machine in our hands soon and I'll definitely get my hands on it. So please consider subscribing if you want to see more information and reviews about the Steam machine, but not only. Until next time, this is Silvio and this is the Tech Unravel, and I'll catch you in the next video.